Breaking news, health insurance company CEOs are reportedly now fearing for their lives after the recent assassination of the United Health Group's CEO. Oh no. I'm so sorry, but it seems that American people's empathy is currently out of your network, said the coldest comment section I've ever seen online. The new Ice Age is coming. That's right, we are about to live through the script of The Day After Tomorrow, and I'm gonna tell you right now exactly where it starts. No, not the climate change. It starts in Twitter comment section, because boy, are those cold. Meanwhile, the unknown assailant is still at large. Believe it or not, it's like day 6, because apparently NYPD is unable to identify him using thousands of surveillance cameras around the city. Gee, I wonder why that is. Maybe, just maybe, because the quality of that footage is that of a broken toaster, as always. And, I've seen screenshots published by the police, and let me be honest. Like, first of all, this guy is wearing a different jacket in each of the screenshots. So, little fashionista. Second of all, I can't even tell if it's the same person. But apparently police likes his people and police likes his eyebrows. They're like, oh, the eyebrows are very distinct, very demure, very mindful. And listen, I see like you guys just losing it in the chat. Yeah, like, I mean, people are focusing very weirdly, very strangely focusing a lot on his eyebrows. And okay, let me just say this, because I said it in my Patreon stream, but murder is still murder. It's wrong. It's not right. And I do hope that they catch the guy and find out what was his motive and what's the story there. But on the other hand, I can kind of understand why the comment section is so cold, because I can understand people's frustration. This incident definitely uncovered yet again how flawed the healthcare system is in the US, and people coming to the comments with their horrible stories. They come to the comments with their horrible experiences with these insurance companies that either blocked them receiving much needed treatment or caused their loved ones to suffer or lose their lives. So, I'm gonna repeat myself here. It's hard to have sympathy for someone who was responsible and, like at the very top of this company that refused to help you or your family. I don't agree with some people talking about how like, oh, hot the suspect is, because yeah, this happened. This is actually happening. People are going to comments and being like, ooh, he's hot. Ooh, look at his eyebrows. Oh my God. I was like, no, because that's messed up. But at the same time, I can sympathize with people who really feel bitter about United Healthcare Group's conduct, and like they've been wronged, and it's hard to have sympathy for a company that did this to you. So there's that. Sounds like karma. Some people say that, yes, but possibly, I'm not saying no, but at the same time I'm like, okay, but still, murder is still murder, and I do hope that the guy is caught, and like we're gonna see the whole story. We're gonna see the story from his perspective, like what happened there, why did he decide to murder the CEO? Because it was very telling that there's some like more to the story, because he even like intentionally wrote on his on the bullets on shelling, like the shell casings. I think he wrote like something like deny, delay, depose, or something like that. So there's definitely some story. I'm pretty sure we're gonna find out that this like United Healthcare Group did something either to him or his family, and that's why he decided, or not, I don't know, or maybe he's John Wick, maybe. Oh no, wait, John Wick had a reason. No, maybe he's just an assassin, and he's like in the part of the intercontinental. Oh God. Well, anyway, some dark humor. Yes, I'm laughing about this a little bit, but obviously I think that it's very serious, and they should. I'm honestly baffled that this happened in New York City and they are still unable to find this guy. And he apparently fled on a bicycle, so, ooh, yeah, you can't catch that. You can't. That can't be beaten. You know, like you can't beat that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah. Anyway, welcome to another true crime stream. Welcome to my channel. I know you're confused by this intro. I am too. I'm confused by how in the world in 2024 do we still have CCTV cameras that are recording like a broken toaster? That is amazing. Sona, what about the Mean Girls? Well, we're gonna get to that, but welcome to another true crime stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. In these streams, we cover cold, old, and unsolved cases, as well as the solved ones, but you know, some shocking cases and more. Today, we're gonna delve into a tragedy that unfolded in the quiet town of Star City, West Virginia, a story of a young girl who disappeared in mysterious circumstances, a case that ended with a truly disturbing plot twist. And if you are new here, if you don't know who I am, hi, I'm FEARSONA, you can call me Sona, and I'm your friendly neighborhood true crime VTuber, here to give you full body chills. Sona, got any cheese facts? Green Bay Packers fans wear cheese hats to football games. I recently found out, and I am living for it. Oh, and other fans, I just saw a game, and it was like Green Bay Packers versus Lions, and some fan in the audience, he was like a Lions fan, but he literally brought cheese and cheese grater. So I was just like, yes, I like your energy, sir. Yes. Fabian, thank you so much for the super. Sona, I found the worst pain. Algebra reviews. Jesus. Don't even. Oh my god, I felt that. Philadelphia. Oh my, I have to share that. This was an absolute revelation that I had yesterday. Thank you, Eric, for reminding me. This is an absolute revelation that I had yesterday during my true crime stream on Patreon. Philadelphia cream cheese. Have you heard of this? You've probably heard of this product. And you probably thought like, oh, well, Philadelphia cream cheese. That makes sense. It comes from Philadelphia, right? No! It started in New York. This is a lie. This is a blatant lie. We've been lied to. We've been deceived. That's just horrendous. That is unbelievable. Someone should get on this case, because why? Philadelphia cheese is not from Philadelphia. That is just like marketing lies. Deceitful marketing. Deception. Yeah, you can actually check it. Yes, Philadelphia cream cheese is not from Philadelphia. Let's grieve. Let's mourn this horrifying loss and deception, absolute deception of advertising, false advertising. Yeah, like they should have just wrote New York cream cheese. Although my chat yesterday on Patreon said that no one would buy this because, yeah, because it just sounds nasty for some reason. And I'm like, well, but there's New York cheesecake. Like it should be fine, right? And they're like, no, no. That's like the origin of a lot of American Chinese food. What, Philadelphia or New York? I'm a Pennsylvanian and I didn't even know that. Yeah, Philadelphia cream cheese, not from Philadelphia. They should like write this, or like at least write it on the package in like, you know, really fine print at the bottom of the package. Be like, not from Philadelphia, from New York. Because people don't read the fine print, which in retrospect, it's kind of wrong. It's a mistake. You should read the fine print in any contract, but you know, on our products. Man, I started sweating because of this. See, Philadelphia cream cheese just like shocked me so much that my body is reacting by sweating excessively. Yeah, okay. Little Red Kitty, hello. Hi, Sona and chat. Red Kitty's here. It's already 3 in the morning for me, but I really wanted to just say hi, say my first hello here in the chat. Welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by, for saying hello, for tuning into the stream. And I do hope that you have a great time in the stream. Well, regardless of the topic, because the topic definitely is not one that's fun, but one that is educational and can tell us something about, well, murder. Okay. Philadelphia cream cheese from New York, 100% from the US for sure. from New York, but made in I don't know, Taiwan. No, that doesn't make sense. Made in, I don't know, like the Antarctica. Right? What am I talking about? Okay. Guys, why are we talking about cheese? This is just the intro. Now we're gonna get to the case in a minute. This is the last stream of the week, and I'm gonna be taking Monday, Tuesday off, and I'll be back on Wednesday, either Wednesday or Tuesday. We'll see, like Tuesday or Wednesday. Most likely Wednesday, but you know, just letting you guys know that I am gonna be taking some time off. And then there's gonna be next week, there will definitely be another case on Patreon, another case here, maybe 1 or 2 cases on YouTube. And I think I'm gonna also plan for a channel members only stream. Yeah, just to add to your membership a little bit. So there's gonna be a members only stream in preparation for Christmas. I'll also be planning out some Christmas events for, like, right before Christmas. I will definitely do a cooking stream on the 20th or 19th, I guess 19th for some of you guys, and I'll be making Polish dumplings known as pierogi. So if you've ever heard of pierogi, then you will see how it's made, how it's done with my own 2 hands. That's gonna be great. I suck. It's just so much pierogies, so many pierogies that I have to make for my Christmas dinner, and those pierogies are gonna be eaten by myself and my friends. So yeah, that will be interesting. Okay, guys. Pierogi, yum. That sounds good. Oh no, but it sounds good. Yeah. Can't wait. Yeah, there's gonna be cooking stream. There will be a VTuber collab this upcoming week. I will have a collab on, I believe, on the 13th. I have to double check, but I think on the 13th or 12th, something like that. Okay, guys, I think that's it. That's it for there's a cooking stream. Well, there will be on the 19th, I think. I think my cousin had pierogi in Poland while he got deployed. Well, then I'm glad he did. I'm glad they did. Well, I mean, I don't know if, yeah, but I hope that they liked it. I hope that your cousin liked pierogis, because there's many types, and you can really, you know, make your choice from, you know, many different types of pierogis, and all of them are pretty good. Is there any type of pierogi that I don't like? Well, I mean, the meaty ones, because I don't really eat that much meat. Like, I don't eat pork. So I guess the meat pierogis are just like meh, but, well, to me, but otherwise, you know, it's, yeah, they're pretty good. Okay, I miss them. I just make pierogis once a year for Christmas. Okay, that's it. That's all for the announcements, and now let's get to the actual case. So let's talk about the case of Skylar Neese. So Skylar Neese was a bright and ambitious 16-year-old who seemed to have her whole life ahead of her. Known for her radiant smile and quick wit, Skylar was an honor student with dreams of becoming a lawyer. She balanced her academic achievements with a part-time job at a local Wendy's, and was adored by her friends, her family, her co-workers, everyone, you know, like, as always, everyone, no one hated her, everybody loved her. Except, well, here we are talking about a case, so I guess not everybody loved her. But like many teenagers, Skylar's world revolved around her friendships, because she's a teenager. She doesn't wanna, she loved her parents. Don't get me wrong, like, she loved her parents. Her relationship with her parents was great, but sometimes she just needed to hang out with her peers, right? Like, she didn't want to hang out with her parents all the time. She wanted to hang out with her friends. And she had 2 best friends, Sheila Eddy and Rachel Shove. Skylar and Sheila had been inseparable since childhood, with Sheila pretty much being treated like a member of the Nice family. Like, she got so close with Skylar that, and her parents and her, you know, like her family, that they pretty much treated her like a member of their family. She never knocked before entering to the Nice home. Like, she could just come over whenever she wanted and just come in, you know, like that's actually what Skylar's parents told her. Like, Sheila, please don't knock, just walk in, like you're more than welcome here, and you know, like you're basically our family member. So yes, Sheila was very, very close with Skylar's family, and her carefree and bubbly personality was very endearing to Skylar's parents. Rachel, on the other hand, was a newcomer to their friendship, joining the group in high school. So a little bit later, you know, Skylar and Sheila were friends from childhood, but you know, Rachel joined them, and she also got close with Skylar and Sheila. Together, the trio seemed unbreakable. Everything would change on July 6th, 2012. Well, again, as I said before, Skylar loved spending time with her parents. Like many teenagers seeking a moment of freedom, she often preferred to spend time with her best friends. Skylar's parents, Mary and David Neese, described her as a responsible and loving daughter. Although she had her typical teenage moments, they trusted her, so they were fine with her like hanging out with her friends. Just, you know, just let us know where you are, or let us know who you're gonna be with, so that we know, like, oh, you know, yeah, like, okay, you're with your friends, that's fine. So everything was good, right? But on the evening of July 5th, 2012, 16-year-old Skylar Neese came home after her shift at Wendy's. She was tired, but generally like in a good mood, you know, like in good spirits. Like, nothing was amiss, nothing was wrong. And like any other night, she greeted her parents, shared a quick hug with them, and just told them that she was ready to call it a night. She was actually very tired. Her shift was pretty busy that day. She didn't have a moment to herself. You know, she didn't have time to take a break at work. So she kind of told her parents, like, hey, I'm actually pretty beat after this shift, so I'm just gonna call it a night. I'm gonna go to bed. Her parents had no reason to suspect anything was amiss, and the rest of the evening was pretty uneventful. The following morning, on July 6th, Mary and David woke up but didn't hear anything from Skylar's room. So they assumed that she was still catching up on sleep. You know, like, she probably was asleep, so they just figured, like, oh, okay, we're just gonna quietly get ready. They went about their morning routine. They quietly got ready for work and left the apartment without disturbing Skylar. It wasn't until later that day when David came home, and he came home early, that the first flicker of unease set in. So David stepped into the apartment, expecting to, you know, hear Skylar moving around or see her relaxing in her room, because she would usually, like, after she woke up, she would usually just leave her door open, and you could see her in her room, like, moving around, or you can see her just chilling on her bed or something, right? Like, or just chilling in the apartment. So that's what he was expecting. Like, oh, you know, like, by this time, like, Skylar should be up, and she's probably just relaxing at home. But the whole house was unusually silent. So David calls out to Skylar, his voice echoing through the house, and there was no response. He knocks on Skylar's bedroom door, waits, and then slowly opened it. What he found was pretty unsettling. Skylar's room looked untouched. Her bed was unmade, but definitely not slept in. Her purse, makeup, and other essentials were still there, as if she had simply vanished. But, you know, okay, no need to jump to any, like, conclusions or panic. Maybe she just left the house to meet up with her friends. You know, maybe she was, okay, like, right after her parents left for work, maybe she got up, got ready, and then just sometime during the day she just left the house, so it's probably fine. Maybe she called Mary and told her that she was heading out. That definitely must be it. You know, like she definitely contacted her mom. Like, it's okay. Maybe I just didn't see a message from her or something. So David tries calling Skylar's phone, but each ring went unanswered. With growing concern, he reaches out to his wife, Mary, asking if she had any idea where Skylar could be. You know, he asked her like, hey, did she call you? Did she tell you that she's not gonna be home? But Mary said, no, I didn't get a call from Skylar. I didn't know where she was. So they start reaching out to her friends. One of the first calls went to Sheila Eddy, so Skylar's closest friend. Sheila seemed very surprised to hear from David and claimed that she hadn't seen Skylar, though she admitted that they had texted casually the night before. At this point, no one could have imagined the terrible truth that would soon come to light. After this call, Skylar's dad, he started piecing together what might have happened. His first instinct was to check Skylar's room again for, any signs of where she could have gone. Maybe he missed something that morning when he looked inside and he was just like, oh, okay, well, he didn't see anything suspicious, but maybe he should really look closely. And that was actually a good decision, because when he walked in and he actually looked around and he looked closely at the state of the room, that's when he noticed something unusual. The mesh screen from the bedroom window, was stored in her closet. It was not in the window like it should have been. It was like taken off and put away in the closet, and the window itself was actually open, like very slightly. You could just like put your fingers in, or like very slightly. It was closed, but like, oh, there was like a gap left in it, so it was open. And outside, like when he looked out the window, he opened the window and he looked out. Outside there was a bench that had been moved under the window, as if, someone had used it to like move it and help someone climb out. Well, either climb in or climb out. It didn't take long for David to suspect that Skylar had sneaked out of the house the night before. But where was she now? Like, okay, like she's done this before, but usually like she would be back, right? Why hadn't she come back? David's concern quickly turns into dread. If Skylar had snuck out, was it possible that something had happened to her on her way back home? Why wasn't she back? Could she have been abducted? Or was there another explanation? Unfortunately, I gotta go to work now. No worries, Eric. Thank you so much for being here, for stopping by to say hi, and have a great day at work. Bench, why? That's really strange. Oh yeah. Well, that's what David thought. Like, okay, this is very strange, right? Like, okay, she snuck out, but she wasn't back, so something must have happened. And also, please don't mind if I'm sharing this not in time, but my grandmother hears some kind of music out of nowhere. Oh, Jesus. Haunted house, haunted music. And she blames us that we are turning on the music at nights. We're sleeping at night. Oh, no. Well, I hope that I hope that the house isn't haunted, because music out of nowhere, that sounds a little bit like a banshee. But... Alright. Sorry for the reaction, but I hear like, oh, music out of nowhere, and she's hearing it. I'm like, okay, Grandma, let me get some salt and like sprinkle it everywhere, and holy water, and sprinkle it in every corner of your room. Hopefully it's fine. Okay, let's get back to the case. So, as questions swirled in his mind, David called Mary to tell her that, what he found, that he found this bench under Skylar's window and the mesh removed, and she's not there, and it seemed like she snuck out the night before, but she's not back. So together, Mary is obviously concerned. She comes back home, and together they try to piece together Skylar's last known movements, but the picture remained frustratingly incomplete. Then David gets another call, and this time the call is from Wendy's, where Skylar worked. And it turns out that Skylar hadn't shown up for her shift, which was entirely out of character. She would always show up for her shift or inform them that she was not gonna be in that day. Realizing that their daughter might truly be missing by this point, because up until this point, honestly, they thought like, okay, well, let's not panic. Yes, it looks like she snuck out. She had snuck out the night before, but maybe she just stayed over at a friend's place. You know, let's not make a big deal out of it. It's just been a couple of hours, and, you know, it might be nothing. It might be that she's never done this before. She's never, like, run away or anything. She's not that type of teenager, that type of a kid and a teenager. So let's, you know, not jump into conclusions. Let's find out. Let's just call her friends. Maybe this is, like, the first time where she really lost track of time and, yeah, like, maybe fell asleep at a friend's place or something. So let's just check on that. But yes, after this, after the information from the Wendy, you know, when Wendy's called them and was like, hey, where's Skylar? Like, she never showed up for her shift and she's supposed to be working today. Okay, that's when it was bad. That's when David and Mary were like, oh, that's not normal. That is not okay. That's not normal, and something's wrong. So realizing that their daughter might really be missing, Dave picked up the phone and called 911, reporting Skylar's disappearance. And I'm gonna play the 911 call from David to, from David, from Skylar's father, about her being missing. This is the clip is from Nuddle Horse channel. So yeah, I'm gonna give credit, Nuddle Horse. Let me just scroll it down. So this is the channel. And they made a video about this, but they also, like, I was looking for the 911 call, so we're gonna listen to that from the channel. Okay. Oh.
I have a daughter that's 16 years old. Apparently she snuck out of her room last night, and she hasn't been seen since. None of her friends can get a hold of her. I can't find her.
Hey, what's her name?
Skylar Niece.
At the time of the disappearance...
Oh, sorry. But yes, that's pretty much what he said. At the time. And, you know, meanwhile, Mary received this, like, unexpected call from Sheila, so from Skylar's best friend, and Sheila sounded very concerned and asked if Skylar had returned home. As they spoke, Sheila admitted that she actually was, like, very nervous and something was wrong. So Mary's like, what is wrong? Like, what's going on? Why do you sound like that? So Sheila kind of came clean, and she admitted that Skylar, and Rachel, so the third friend, had snuck out together the previous night. And according to Sheila, the girls had driven around and smoked marijuana, and this was not the first time they have done this. Like, they did this, right? They've done this before. It was kind of like their typical late night adventure. So this was definitely new to Skylar's parents, right? New information that, oh, actually she had been sneaking out. She has, she's done this before and they've been sneaking out together. But yes, Sheila said like, hey, listen, like, we've done this before. We do this sometimes. We just like smoke marijuana. We just didn't want to, like, she didn't want to worry you. She didn't want to like tell you that. Obviously, like, oh, it's kind of typical teenager stuff. So she was just like, okay, well, that's fine, right? Like, we just hang out, and it was always okay. So to avoid getting caught, they actually developed this routine. They would pick each other up a block or two away from their houses, and then Sheila picked up Skylar at around 11 p.m. that night. So that's what Sheila said, like, hey, like, we would just pick each other up. Like, I would drive and we would pick each other up from like a block or two away from the house, and then we would just go and smoke pot. So yes, she said, like, I picked up Skylar at around 11 p.m. And Sheila claimed they dropped Skylar off near the niece apartment an hour later at midnight, and everything seemed normal when they left. They were like, yeah, we dropped her off, And I watched her. I watched her like walk towards the apartment. Everything was okay. Like, where is she now? Like, she was just there. Like, nothing happened. So what's going on? So this revelation only deepened the mystery. If Sheila and Rachel had dropped Skylar off safely, why wasn't she home? What had happened after she stepped out of that car? These questions would haunt Mary and David as they began the agonizing search for their daughter, not knowing what happened, what really happened that night. As the hours ticked by, on July 6th, 2012, panic began to really set in for Skylar's family. Desperate to find their daughter, they started searching their apartment complex, the surrounding area. They started, Mary and David started going door to door, asking neighbors if anyone had seen Skylar. And each knock on the door brought some hope. They were like, oh, maybe she's here. Maybe they know something. But that hope quickly vanished when neighbors said, no, they didn't know where Skylar was. They didn't see her last night or today. So this is new to them. Mary and David weren't alone in their efforts because Sheila Eddy, so Skylar's best friend, and Sheila's mother joined the search. They were walking the neighborhood and calling out for Skylar. They were like distributing flyers and, like just helping, right? Like, well, I mean, not flyers yet, I guess. Like later on, like there were flyers, but like the first days, it was just like, oh, like they were just walking around the neighborhood, calling out for Skylar, looking for her. And Sheila seemed very concerned, very eager to help. But no matter how far they looked or how many questions they asked, there was no trace of the missing friend. But something went wrong that night. Yeah. I mean, that's why we're here. Hours turned into an agonizing stretch of time, and Mary suddenly remembered an important clue. So she remembered that their apartment complex had a security camera mounted outside and positioned to capture comings and goings to the apartment, right? The driveway. So the family's hope reignited. Maybe this footage would reveal what had happened to Skylar that night. And it kind of did. So there's this grainy footage, which I'm gonna play. That's why it's important to watch your child very carefully. Well, like, don't be a helicopter parent, but at the same time, like, be, just kind of check in on them and be like, hey, are you doing anything sketchy? I know you're not gonna tell me, but I'm just gonna observe you up and down because, I know the look. I know the look of someone who just did something sketchy. So I'll be like, I know that. It's like, child, well, I mean, I shouldn't say that to, like, my future children, but you should never say, like, hey, I've done my fair share of crazy stuff in life. I know one when I see one. I know a sketchy person when I see a sketchy person. Sus behavior when I see a sus behavior. But yeah, yeah, you should not say that to your child because they're like, oh, what did you do, mom? Where were you? What are those crazy things that you've done in life? And I'll be like, what crazy things? No, I was at home studying algebra. I never went outside. I went outside when I was, an adult. When I was 80. That's when I could start going out and dating. My parents were just like, no dating. Until you're 80. Sona does have a drug experience. Well, I do have drug experience. Like, is it drug experience really? No, like marijuana, yeah, like pot. It's not really like not hard drug experience. Jesus Christ, no. Sona does have drug, which is time to be a bad behavior, says Sona later. Fear hiding her crime files. Is the camera footage all grainy? Yes, it is, because of course it was recorded on a toaster. I was too busy talking about cold cases and cryptids. Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, exactly. I was busy looking up true crime stuff and getting scared because the world is scary. If you know what I know, he would never go outside ever again because the outside is scary. Ah. Oh god, okay. Yeah, like my parents were just like, no dating, don't come outside. No, actually my mom was just like, please child, please go outside. And I'm like, no, but yeah, like me and my sister and I were like vastly different. My sister was the outgoing one. So my parents were just like, where are you going? What time are you gonna be back? And like, oh, don't go there. Oh no, you can't go there. Or like, oh, you can't go to this party. Or like, oh, stay home. Meanwhile, my mom was literally begging me, like, why don't you go outside? Why don't you go hang out with friends? Why don't you go to oh, there's probably, maybe they have a party. Maybe they're doing something fun. Go outside, please, I beg you. And I'm like, no. But I'm having fun right here. And she's like, come on, child, be normal. I'm like, no. No, I'm okay. And she's like, why don't you make new friends? Like, oh, you know, like, wouldn't you want to be treated nicely? Like, oh, you know, treat people like you would like to be treated. I'm like, yeah, I would like to be left alone at home. Oh, God. My mom just did the same for me. True story. True story. Where are you going? What are you after? No, like my mom was like, literally, they were begging me to just like, my mom was begging me. My family was begging me to like go. Was ahead of the game, I see. Hey, yeah, I was just like sketching or like, you know, like I was drawing. I was learning how to draw, or like I was playing games or something. And my mom was just like, please, child, go outside. Jesus, be normal. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good right here in my little coop top in my little, it's a coop, coop top in my little room. Please touch grass. I would just like come outside, hiss because the sun was strong. Touch grass really quickly and then come back in and be like, okay, I have touched grass, I have touched nature. No, I'm kidding. I love nature. I do love nature. When I was like much younger, when I was a little kid, I lived in the countryside, so I was like, this was before like I had a computer, because I didn't have a PC or internet until I was like 8 or 10. I guess 10. Yeah, like I didn't have internet until I was 10. But yes, because we just lived in the countryside, so I was outside. But then after discovering the miracle of internet, unfortunately, I was just like, oh yeah, this is my life now. Okay, this is great. Okay, back to the case. So I'm gonna show you guys the footage from that night, and the grainy footage was reviewed because it is fucking grainy, and it revealed a chilling clue. At around 12:30 a.m., a car pulled up to the apartment complex, and Skylar could be seen darting across the lawn toward the vehicle, opening the back door and climbing in. And the car lingered kind of briefly before driving away into the night. And this is 12:30 a.m., right? So, you know, Sheila said like, hey, we snuck out. I picked them up. Like I picked up Rachel and Skylar at 11 p.m., but we came back at 12 and she walked back to the apartment. So who is this? Like, whose car is this? Like, who is this person? Like, this is 12:30, so that's after. So Skylar snuck out twice that night. And, you know, like Mary, understandably, Mary and David were in shock. They're like, oh no, like she got into, it seems like she knew whoever was in that car. So she got into that car willingly and she drove off. So the footage confirmed that Skylar had willingly left the apartment, and it raised even more questions, right? Like, who was driving the car? Where were they going? Unfortunately, the quality of the video, as freaking always, is broken toaster level. So unfortunately, you can't really identify the vehicle. You can't really see who's inside. You can't see the driving license because yeah, we are living, well, I mean, this is in 2012. Never mind, it's 2012. You have no excuse. Jesus Christ. Even in 2012, we had, I mean, to this day, we have just broken toaster CCTV cameras. So, hey. Toaster cam as always. So initially, the police treated the case as a, especially after seeing the CCTV footage, they started treating this case as a possible runaway situation, even though Skylar had no history of running away. But she was 16, and it wasn't uncommon for teenagers to leave home for a night without telling their parents, or for days, because some teens are just unruly and uncontrollable, and they actually want to be outside, which I will never understand. Stay home, play games. It's great. It's great. It's great inside. Okay, so Mary and David were adamant. This wasn't like Skylar at all. She was responsible. She was grounded, with no history of running away or causing trouble. So this is very much out of character for her. As days turned into weeks and then months, the runaway theory began to crumble, because like, had she run away, had she kind of like gone on an adventure, would it have taken her months? Like, what, she decided to just run away from her family and start her life somewhere else? Like, that didn't make sense. Like, they didn't have any family feud. They were on good terms. Everything was just completely normal. Like, there wasn't even a fight recently. It was just like completely normal. She was just going to work. She was going to school. Like, it was pretty normal family. So they were really, really confused right now. There was also no activity. So that's how it crumbled too. So there was also no activity on Skylar's phone or social media. No sightings, no contact with friends or family. She wasn't even she didn't like take out any money from like her bank account or anything. So again, this is not a runaway situation. What started as a routine investigation became a haunting mystery. Both Skylar's parents and law enforcement began to suspect that something far more sinister had happened that night. I have no idea, by the way, why did I struggle so much with the word suspect? Why did I struggle with the intonation? Why? Brain, tell me why. Why? I'm sorry for laughing, but I just had a moment where I struggled so much with this word. Why? It's a normal word, suspect. Why did I say suspect? My brain wouldn't like process that, hey, it's not suspect, it's suspect now. Okay, anyway. It makes sense. It makes sense in my head, apparently. Why did it take them so long? Yeah, because there was no other clues. Nothing. Like, they had nothing, no evidence, no clues. They couldn't really identify the car. They couldn't identify, no one knew where Skylar was and what happened to her. Her friends were like, yeah, we dropped her off at midnight, so, and she was fine by then. And then this footage shows us that she snuck out the second time. So like, what the heck? Okay, so 6 months after Skylar niece vanished into the night, the case took a shocking turn. On December 28th, 2012, Rachel Loaf, so the other one of Skylar's closest friends, had an emotional and mental breakdown, and she was admitted to a psychiatric hospital, overwhelmed by guilt and the weight of a terrible secret. And let me tell you, she had a complete meltdown, and there is a 911 call made by Rachel's mom, during which like Rachel is absolutely losing it. She's like screaming. She's fighting her mom. She's running around on the street and like just screaming bloody murder. And yeah, like her just having a complete meltdown. And her mom is just saying like, yeah, I can't control this child. I can't control my daughter. Like, something's happening. So I'm gonna play that clip. Let's listen to that, to the meltdown. It's gonna be interesting.
I have an issue with a 16-year-old daughter of mine. We can't control her anymore. She's shooting us. She's screaming. She's running through the neighborhood. Give me the phone. Like, okay, no, this is over. This is over. My husband's trying
Yeah. Yeah, she had a bit of a meltdown there. She was just screaming. She couldn't be contained. Like her dad, her like their mom's husband. Well, I mean, okay. So her mom was divorced. I guess. Well, they were divorced. So I'm not sure if it was like the husband that she's speaking of, if it was her ex-husband or if it was like a new husband, maybe. So Rachel's stepfather. But you know, like, yeah, her husband is trying to contain her, and she's like just having an absolute meltdown. That's it. Like, she's just losing it. Okay, so she was admitted to a psychiatric hospital, and upon her release, Rachel made a decision that would shatter the Nice family and send shockwaves through the quiet town of Star City, West Virginia. I guess it was like Star City and Morgantown. Like, there were two towns for some reason, two locations. But she walked into the police station and revealed that she knew exactly what happened to Skylar. And it was far worse than anyone could have imagined. Rachel recounted the events of July 5th, 2012, a night that started with seemingly innocent plans. She and Sheila Eddy, so the other friend, had been texting Skylar, persuading her to sneak out for a late night drive and to smoke weed. So this was their normal ritual. This was true. They had done this before. And at first, Skylar was actually hesitating because she was tired after she was kind of tired that day. She didn't really want to come out. But after repeated messages, she reluctantly agreed. She finally spills the beans, yeah. First time catching a stream. Hi, Fear. Hi, Spitfire. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please enjoy the stream. So yeah, Skylar hesitated, but eventually, after a lot of convincing, she agreed. According to Rachel, Skylar quietly prepared to leave her apartment. She opened her bedroom window, carefully removed the screen, and placed it in her closet. Then she crawled through the opening, lowered herself onto the grass outside, and grabbed a bench to help maneuver the window back into position. So she, as I said, like, the window was like ever so slightly opened. It wasn't completely closed. And the bench was for Skylar to climb back in, but also to like kind of like, close the window, but not close it like entirely. Yeah. And then waiting outside was the mysterious car seen on the surveillance footage. So it was actually later than, it was kind of later than when Sheila and Skylar, like, Sheila told the police, right? Like, Sheila said like, at 11 p.m. like, I picked them up. I didn't actually, like, because Sheila said like, I wouldn't park there. This was not my car. Like, I would park a block or two away, and then Skylar would come out and meet us there. So she, they said like, Rachel said that the mysterious car seen in on the surveillance footage, it was actually Sheila Eddy's car. So Sheila was driving. She was in the driver's seat. Rachel sat in the passenger seat, and the back seat was ready for Skylar. The girls had a plan. One, they presented as a casual hangout, but their true intentions were far, far darker. Yeah, that's the hard part. So if you're sensitive to graphic stuff and the description of violence, please mute the stream on tune out, or I don't know, but just maybe the stream is not for you. But this is the hard part, so be warned. I'm just warning you right now. Ian, thank you so much for being here, and Charles, and Joshua, and Bibs Kalakar, I'm sorry, and 3 dots. I guess dot. I guess where this is, I guess I can guess where this is going. Oh yeah. Okay, back to the story. So the 3 friends drove approximately 45 minutes to an isolated area just across the border in Pennsylvania, which was a familiar spot where they had hung out before. For Skylar, it seemed like a typical summer night spent in the company of her closest friends, but what she didn't know was that Sheila and Rachel had been planning something sinister for weeks. When they arrived, the girls pretended that they wanted to smoke pot, like just as usual. However, neither Sheila nor Rachel had brought lighters. Like, they acted like, oh shit, like I didn't grab the lighter from the car, or like we didn't bring lighters with us, which was a deliberate part of their scheme. When Skylar offered to grab a lighter from the car, because that's what the girls told her, like, oh, there should be one in the car. So Skylar offered to grab a lighter from the car, and she stood up. She turned her back on her friends, right? Like, she turned to go to the car, and that's when the attack began. So on Rachel's signal, on 3, this is what they said, like on 3, 1, 2, 3, the two girls attacked, and they lunged at Skylar with knives they had brought with them, stabbing her repeatedly in the back. And Skylar, despite her injuries, she managed to break free, and she actually tried to run. But the problem was, this was a very remote location, and it offered no escape. There was nowhere to run to. Like, she could run through the woods, but she would just run to, like, nowhere, really. IDK Bacon, thank you so much for the Supa. Pennsylvania mentioned let's go. Oh, wait, this is Sona stream. Oh, no! Yeah, you don't want to be mentioned in... you don't want your town to be mentioned in my stream. So yeah, Skylar did break free from the first stabs, for the first stab wounds. She did break free. And she was... I'm sorry, I have to like pause because that part is just horrifying. So she broke free, but even though she tried to run, there was nowhere to run. Her so-called best friends really quickly caught up with her and continued their brutal assault, continued stabbing her until she was down on the ground, and until she was like bleeding profusely. And her, like, apparently they waited, like they kept stabbing her, or at least one of them. I think Sheila kept, the best friend, she kept stabbing her until Skylar stopped gargling on her blood. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. So once Skylar was dead, they confirmed that, okay, well, she stopped breathing, she stopped making sounds, she stopped gargling on the blood. She's definitely dead. The two girls actually attempted to bury her body in the woods, but it turns out that the ground was pretty rocky, and it made digging impossible because they brought a shovel. Sheila brought a shovel from her dad's shed, or her parents' shed. Instead, they basically dragged the body, or Skylar's blood-covered body, into the nearby woods. Like, they dragged it like deeper into the woods, and they decided to cover her with stones, branches, and just anything they could find. Convinced that they had concealed their crime enough, Rachel and Sheila used bleach to clean themselves up, because they brought everything. They've been planning this for weeks, so they brought everything they needed. They brought bleach to clean themselves up after the crime, after the murder. Then they just simply returned to their car and drove away, leaving Skylar's body behind in the darkness. Friends more like monsters. Absolutely horrifying. Those are not friends. And it's gonna get worse. I want to say, see, like, I don't want to say this, but like, it's kind of gonna get worse. If murder wasn't bad, like, it's gonna get even more ridiculous and worse. The murder of Skylar Neese was not a crime of passion or a spontaneous act. It was very much premeditated, painstakingly planned by her two closest friends. I think that's the most painful part. They were best friends, supposedly. Rachel and Sheila, in the days leading up to the night of July 6th, like Rachel grabbed, oh sorry, there was Rachel, not Sheila. I thought it was Sheila for some reason, like I had it first written down as Sheila grabbed the shovel from like from her father's house, but it was Rachel. Rachel was the one to grab the shovel from her father's house, so I mixed it up. And Sheila was the one to take 2 knives from her mother's kitchen. And along with these weapons, they packed cleaning supplies and a change of clothes. So they were very much prepared. Their plan was clear. Skylar would not be coming home that night. The messed up part is that Skylar really thought that this was just another hangout. You know, another one of their hangouts. That they were still best friends. She didn't question anything, because why would she? Like, up until this point, everything was fine. Like, what's going on? Even though the weather that day was like really hot, Sheila and Rachel were wearing hoodies, like those thick hoodies, which I think anyone would like kind of question. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why are this so hot? Aren't you hot in this hoodie? But, you know, Skylar didn't really pay attention to it. She's just like, oh, okay, you know, like, whatever, like, the swag. But what Skylar didn't know was that the oversized garments, the oversized hoodies, actually concealed the knives they intended to use against her. So they had knives on them, and they wore those hoodies to conceal the weapon. But Skylar, you know, she didn't know, and she didn't question it. And this is the worst part. So apparently in her final moments, you know, bleeding out of her wounds and surrounded by the people she had trusted most, but the people who had just stabbed her, Skylar apparently before dying, she kept, at one point, she just kept asking why. She kept making sound and, you know, she kept asking why. So they didn't give her an answer at the time, but later when authorities finally uncovered the truth and, you know, they were questioning Rachel about why did that happen? What was your motive? Like, what happened there? What triggered this situation? Rachel's response was like very, very, very cold. Well, this is actually the location of, this is actually the place where it happened. Taxman, thank you so much for IRS swag cringe. Well, I mean, you know. But this is the location, and well, that's where I guess that's where it happened. That's where they stabbed her. Okay, so when she was asked about, like when Rachel was asked, why did they plan this? Why did they decide to kill Skylar? She just said, we didn't like her. And also she said, we didn't want to be friends with her anymore. They didn't like her anymore. That was the reason. They didn't want to be friends. She was, I don't know, like they wanted to get rid of her because they didn't like her. Yeah, I know. The fuck? I had the same reaction. I had the same exact reaction. I was like, what the fuck? You didn't like her? So I'm sorry, did we forget about, I don't know, communication? Like talking? Okay, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. No, like, I think it's easier. I guess it's easier to just stab someone and get rid of them because you don't like them anymore. Jesus. The question that everyone has been losing sleep over was obviously why? Why did such a tragedy happen among what seemed to be a tight group of friends? How could the two girls wake up one day, just wake up one day and simply decide that, well, they didn't like their third friend anymore, ergo she had to die? As it turns out, behind their daily interactions and behind the seemingly normal friendship, there was a whole other story that played out online. The girls were fairly active on social media, and as the investigators dug through their accounts, they found out that tensions had been growing among the three in the weeks leading up to Skylar's death. On May 31st, 2012, so just a month before Skylar's death, Skylar posted on her Twitter account, and she said this: "You're a two-faced bitch and obviously fucking stupid if you thought I wouldn't find out." And then she followed with another cryptic post that indicated another rift in their friendship, which read, "Too bad my friends are having lives without me." I don't have those tweets, but I have other tweets. Some of them, like, I could find screenshots, some of them I couldn't. And then arguments began between Skylar and Sheila, and Skylar's classmate Daniel Hoviter confirmed this by saying, quote, "Sheila and Skylar were fighting a lot. One time, sophomore year, me and Rachel were at practice for Pride and Prejudice, and Rachel had her phone up to her ear and she was laughing. She was like, 'Listen to this.' Sheila and Skylar were fighting, but Skylar didn't know Sheila had put her on three-way calling and Rachel was listening in." So Rachel was kind of a theater kid. Like, she was, she liked, she joined the drama club. So she was, that's why Daniel said, like, about Pride and Prejudice, because they were like practicing for a play. On the day of her disappearance, Skylar actually tweeted another thing. She tweeted, "You doing shit like that is why I can never completely trust you." And then prior to the incident, the day prior to the incident, Skylar also posted, "Sick of being at fucking home. Thanks, friends. Love hanging out with you all too." So yeah. And the other two girls did not really post about any arguments with Skylar. Like, they posted some of it. Like, there weren't that many posts, or like maybe one or two or something. But there were still some suspicious posts from Sheila. For instance, and this is after Skylar had disappeared. This was like within the months, in those months when she was missing. She was still missing. She wasn't like the truth wasn't out. So for instance, on November 5th, and this is like, yeah, that's it's gonna be pretty bad, but well, some of it, but not this one. But on November 5th, 2012, Sheila posted, quote, "No one on this earth can handle me and Rachel. If you think you can, you're wrong." And it's worth noting that while at the time this wasn't taken seriously, there were actually several users on Twitter who straight up accused the two of murdering Skylar. And they were saying, like, some comments were saying, like, "Oh, it's not gonna take long for the authorities to uncover your sinister plot, like your evil plan." Never underestimate internet sleuths. Just saying. Angry Twitter people can be incredible detectives. They can sniff these things like bloodhounds. So I feel like just people had a feeling, people saw this. This was like before the truth came out, and people were commenting like, "Oh yeah, like that's something smells bad. Something smells fishy here. Like, why are you posting this? Like, why are you behaving like that? Like, what's going on?" How did the cops not find us sooner? I think because they were just not checking everything. Like, they weren't checking with friends, because they didn't assume, like, they didn't think, they didn't have a reason at the time to, like, suspect them. But, later, obviously, they analyzed this, and it was just like, what the fuck? Mind you, I think this is the worst part. This is one of the most disturbing and blood-chilling details from this case. But on April 1st, 2013... So this is after Skylar's death is known, but it's still like, yeah, like it's known that, oh, she was killed by her friends. And I guess Sheila wasn't arrested yet, but yeah, Sheila tweeted this: "We really did go on 3," which likely refers to the murder. Because if you remember, Rachel confessed to the police that, "Oh, we went on 3. We attacked her on 3. So 1, 2, 3, and attack." That's what she tweeted. And sometime after that, detectives identified the car in the CCTV footage as one belonging to Sheila. So it really took, like, I'm just talking about it. It seemed like, oh, everything happened so quickly. No, this is like stretching over months. right? So all those discoveries, all the evidence, and like the car being identified as Sheila's car, that happened within like months. It's not like within days. And then, as we know, in December, the truth was revealed after Rachel's mental breakdown. Eventually, after their confession, Rachel agreed to lead the investigators to where the two abandoned Skylar's body and her remains were officially located on January 16th, 2013, which is less than 30 miles from her home. Another part is another sad part is that because of the snowfall, police weren't initially able to find Skylar's body. They weren't able to locate her remains. So it took a week before they finally found her, and the remains were apparently like unidentifiable because of the very advanced stage of decomposition. Because if you remember, she was murdered in July and it was very hot. So she was so decomposed that they weren't really able to identify her until March 13th. So that's months later. It was like possible for the crime lab to officially confirm that these remains belonged to Skylar Neese. I'm sorry, I have to like take breaks because they really dragged their feet on this one. Yeah, they did. Rachel was already in police's custody. They just needed hard evidence to arrest and charge Sheila, because technically, like, Rachel admitted, like, right, like, she made confession. Sheila didn't for months. And they didn't really have like hard evidence to pin her like as the second killer. But they did finally find the evidence. So they found it in Sheila's car. In the trunk, they discovered Skylar's DNA, which allowed them to arrest Sheila Eddy on May 1st, 2013. So that's like a month after that weird post that we did really go on 3. And they would charge Sheila with first-degree murder. Both Sheila and Rachel pled guilty to their charges. Sheila was eventually sentenced to life in prison because it was determined that she was like the main kind of mastermind, and also, she did most of the stabbing too. Also, Joshua, thank you so much for the super. Here's a couple of head pats, Sona. Thank you. Yeah, that's hard. So Sheila was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. And Rachel was found guilty of second-degree murder, because I guess she was just like co-conspirator or co-murderer, but she wasn't like the main stabber, I guess. And she received, and also like I think authorities just took into account that she came forward like first, and she lost her shit and she admitted, she confessed first. So she received, she was found of second-degree murder and received a 30-year sentence with possibility of parole. During her sentencing, Rachel expressed remorse for her actions, and she actually apologized. She started apologizing profusely to Skylar's parents for the pain she had caused, as well as she apologized to her own family and to God. Now, here's a little plot twist that came years later, and it kind of explained, because when I was explaining the motive behind, right, like how Rachel said like, oh, our motive was that we didn't like her anymore and we didn't want to be friends with her anymore. That didn't really give us the motive, right? Like, who does this? Who kills someone just because they don't like them? Like, oh, who kills, well, I mean, someone, but like, who kills their best friend just because they don't like them anymore? Like, there no other like way to break this friendship, which is bullshit. But so at the time, their explanation was like, we didn't like her, we didn't want to be friends anymore, which doesn't exactly explain anything. But in May 2023, at her parole hearing, so this is recently, this is last year, Rachel revealed that at the time, Sheila and herself had been in a romantic relationship. They started a romantic relationship. And Skylar simply ended up being the annoying third wheel. So Sheila and Rachel were a couple now. And Skylar was like a third wheel and they didn't want to hang out with her anymore. So I'm sorry, you decided to murder your best friend, murder your friend because you guys wanted to go on dates without her and make out? I don't know, ever heard of talking? Communication, Jesus Christ. I'm pretty sure she would have been chill with it. She would have been like, okay, well, you guys want some privacy. You guys want some time to yourselves as a couple. Or sure, maybe not. Maybe she wouldn't have been okay with that. Maybe she would have been upset. But you can simply end the friendship without being a backstabbing bitch. Literally. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm just too old school to understand. And whatever, you don't like someone nowadays is just immediately stab and clean it up. I don't know. Where's the fucking logic? Non-existent. The logic exited, left the chat. The logic logged out. Well, anyways, Rachel's bid for parole was denied in 2023, so she is still in prison. And okay, fun fact. I don't know why I called it a fun fact, but you know what, let's roll with it. So as of September 2023, both Sheila and Rachel are in custody at the Laken Correctional Center. So I guess they have plenty of time alone couples time now. Honestly, I don't know, that seemed like a little bit of a slap in the face to Skylar's family, because sure, okay, the both of them are in prison, but to me, I would probably put them in separate prisons just to add to the punishment, because I have seen Orange is the New Black, okay? I know what happens in women's prisons, because that show is definitely, absolutely 100% true and true to reality, and it's basically a documentary, right? Let's reference it and not put the killer. But, I would support referencing the show and not putting the killer duo in the same cell, in the same prison. How about that? Let's put them in separate prisons. Just in case. Because this seems like a summer camp to them, I guess. They have a lot of time now. They will be together in prison and in hell. I wish you well. In hell. Okay, so as for the aftermath of the case, David Neese, Skylar's father, was adamant that the two did not deserve any leniency. Sheila and Rachel did not deserve any leniency for what they had done to his only daughter. And David still visits the place in the woods in Pennsylvania where Skylar lost her life. There's a tree decorated with Skylar's photos and flowers to commemorate her, and just like little trinkets, little figurines, and just little things that people leave to remember her by. So that's not everything. Skylar's tragic death prompted changes to Amber Alert laws in West Virginia. Now, children who are missing and believed to be in danger, regardless of whether they initially appear to have run away, are eligible for alerts. So even if there's suspicion that they ran away, that they are a runaway, police is still gonna, they are required to put out an Amber Alert for those kids. And Skylar's parents, Dave and Mary, have become advocates for missing and exploited children. And that is the end of the story. This was fucked up. What the fuck? Moral of the story is, I don't know, don't stab your friend in the back. Don't actually kill your friend with a knife because you don't like them anymore. How about talk? How about message? Yes, go, I don't know, if you don't want a face-to-face confrontation and, I don't know, you want some time alone, just text them. Be like, hey, sorry, dude, we can't be friends anymore. I don't want to be friends anymore, or something. Or just explain. Or if you're, Jesus, if you're an adult person, be an adult person and talk like an adult person. Don't go doing this shit. Yeah, but apparently these girls thought like, oh yeah, totally, no one's gonna know and we're gonna be fine and stabby stab and clean up and it all goes away. No, it doesn't. Okay. Don't smoke weed. I mean, if it's legal in your state, that as well. I mean, if you're underage, obviously no. But if it's legal in your state, that is up to you. That is your choice. I personally don't smoke weed because it stinks, and also it's illegal in Taiwan. But I did take gummies. I got super paranoid, so I don't think I'm gonna be doing that maybe anytime soon. We're in love. Time to get rid of the extra baggage. Like literally time to get rid of them and like disappear them in mysterious circumstances. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? That makes no sense. I hate this. I absolutely hated this case. I mean, it was shocking, and it's, you know, we've learned a thing or two about friendships, how not to do friendship, like as in how like things that you shouldn't do when you're friends with someone. Stab them in the back, physically, like physically, also figuratively, but physically too. Okay. It doesn't, fear. It doesn't. Like, it makes no sense. Who knew you can do horrible things for love? I can't even like wrap it around my head. Okay. Moral of the story: don't be the third wheel. Well, no, like that's no, absolutely not. Like, Jesus Christ, no. Just don't stab your friends. Yeah, like in a figurative sense and in a literal sense, especially in the literal sense, like figurative, okay, whatever. Things happen, but literally don't stab your friends because that's illegal. Love makes you do stupid things, jeez. Logically talk it out, like talk, communicate people. Okay, that's it. And I feel very sorry for Skylar's parents. I feel very sorry for Skylar because she was betrayed in the worst way possible. And I just hope she is at peace now. I just hope that she's just at peace, and I hope her family is also at peace now. Now that the two of them are in prison, and hopefully for a long, long time. Okay. I'm glad I got to see you live, but alas, I must take my leave as it is getting late where I live. Arrivederci and adieu. Thank you so much, Spitfire. Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed the stream. Thank you for stopping by, and have a good night. Okay, you guys, that's it for today. That's the end of the case. This was crazy. I think I need like I need a matcha latte. I deserve a matcha latte after this. There, Sona. It's gonna be okay. We also covered a pretty frustrating, pretty weird, strange case on Patreon. We covered the case of Branson Perry, the disappearance of Branson Perry. He disappeared. So Branson disappeared within seconds from like his own property. While there were 3 people on the property, there were 2 mechanics. There was his friend. His friend was like hanging out with him. He just walked out of his house to drop off some like to bring some jumper cables to the shed that was like behind his house. Within that like small window of time, like literally a minute, he was gone. And ever since then, and this happened in like I don't know, like 2000s, yeah, like within seconds he was gone, and to this day no one can find him. Like, it's been so long, and yeah, and no trace of Branson to this day. There were 3 people on that property. No one saw anything, no one heard anything, or at least so they say. And yeah, Branson is gone. And there were some pretty disturbing things that happened. Like one incident that happened in the days before. I'm sorry for laughing, but I just remembered like what happened, and there were pubes involved. I'm sorry for saying that, YouTube. Jesus guys, don't ban me. But yes, there was some shaving of certain hair involved, and it was very strange. But yeah, if you're curious about that case, you can head over to my Patreon if you would like to join. There are weekly streams, there are bonus cases, wallpapers, other perks for my members, so please check it out if you would like to support my channel directly and get a lot of perks. But yeah. Yeah, Demon Taker, I know. I said that a lot in that stream and I regretted it, and I said like, please stop saying that, Sona, please stop, you're out of control. And also YouTube is gonna take down this video because you're saying some stuff. But yes, if you're curious about the case, you can check it out on Patreon and yeah, hang out with me sometime. Sona thinking human genitals, huh? No! No, it's just like, yeah, like that was just a part of the case, okay? I swear to God. Okay, that is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, for hanging out with me, and for listening. And I hope I didn't like traumatize you too much with yet another one of those cases. And this is the last stream of the week, so I'll be taking 2 days off, and then I'll be back with more cases, with more spooky stuff, maybe with some horror game, definitely with a VTuber collab, and definitely with a Patreon stream, definitely a case here on YouTube next week. So stay safe out there, have a wonderful rest of the day or evening or night, wherever you are, and stay safe out there. Always lock your doors and windows. Stay tuna. Until next time. Bye. Joshua, thank you so much for another super fun fact. Yeah, I do have a fun fact, actually. Scientists can locate colonies of penguins from space just by looking for dark ice patches of penguin poop. They are tracking penguins by their poop. That's how they know where penguins are. That is hilarious, but also ew. Why? Yeah, that's pretty fun. But yeah, poop tracker. Penguin poop tracker. I'm pretty sure that's how they call it. Whatever device, like whatever device is tracking those like dark ice patches, it's just like penguin poop tracker. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much again. Stay tuna. Stay safe out there. Always lock your doors and windows. Bear your haxes until the next time. And yeah, I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.